Hello witches, wizards, and those who are yet to receive their Hogwarts school letters, welcome to my Harry Potter kitchen. This is the YouTube series where I'm baking my way through the Harry Potter books, making recipes for every item of food and drink that we find inside. If you missed last week's recipe where we made a 100-layer chicken and ham sandwich to take on McGonagall's never-ending plate, then make sure you check out the link down below in the description to catch up. And if you're new to the kitchen and you want to see some more Harry Potter recipes, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell, then you'll get an alert every Magic Monday when there's a brand new recipe. Speaking of which, let's head back into the chamber to see what's next. Okay, so we're just at the end of chapter 5, so let's head back in to see what's next. So Harry and Ron have made their way back to Gryffindor Common Room. They bumped into Hermione, who has helped them get the passwords to get in, and then all of the other Gryffindors are cheering them on because they've already heard about their entry into Hogwarts. That's the end of that chapter, so we're going to move on to chapter 6, Gilderoy Lockhart, and they have just gone down to the Great Hall for breakfast, and I can see our next recipe already. The 4 longhouse tables were laden with tureens of porridge, plates of kippers. Things are about to get fishy. If you'd like to recreate these Harry Potter fish cakes, then all of the ingredients, measurements and instructions are up on my website, bradleybakes.co.uk. The link is down below in the description. If you're wondering what kippers are, they are the informal name for a whole herring, which is a small silvery fish that's very popular in the north of Europe. It's also in the same family as sardines or mackerel, so if you're struggling to find yourself some herring, those are some good alternatives for you to use. Now today, instead of just frying up the fish, I'm going to do something a little bit more magical with it and turn it into some herring fish cakes. So I'm going to walk you through the whole process, how to prepare your fresh herring, how to cook it beautifully, and then how to turn it into some magical fish cakes. In fact, they'll be the best fish cakes that you can find in the wizarding world. First up, let's prepare our fish. Before you start preparing your herring, it's important that your fish is well washed in cold water. You then want to pat it dry and use a knife to descale it by rubbing it back and forth along the skin. Depending on the size of your herring, you've got 2 methods to prepare it. The first is the simplest and best if your herring is very small and you don't want to waste any flesh. Take some kitchen scissors and cut off the tail and the fins. Look out for the gill just below the head and then make an incision, then take your knife and pull out all of the guts from the inside. It's a little bit gory, but it's an important step to make sure we only get the nice, clean flesh when we cook it. You then want to remove the head and then try to remove as many of the bones from the inside as you can. The second option works best if you've got larger herring and if you're planning on frying them. The first steps are the same to clean and degut the fish, but instead of just chopping off the head, you want to work your knife down one side, removing the top part of the flesh from the skeleton inside. You then flip the fish over and repeat the process, and then you can cut along the top to remove it, and then you'll have one large fillet left off. A quick trick to remove any excess bones is to roll it, and then the bones should stick out and make them nice and easy for you to spot and pull out. So if you've ever wondered how to prepare fresh fish, those are 2 methods for you to try. It's a little bit fiddly, but it's a great skill to learn, so get practicing, and if you are still struggling, you can always ask your fishmonger to help, or get some pre-cooked fish. You can use it in this recipe as well. Okay, to cook our herring, I'm gonna poach mine, and that means we're gonna make a little broth, and then we're gonna cook the fish in there, so it's gonna get all that flavor, and also make sure it's lovely and juicy. We're then gonna let it cool down and flake it, so don't worry if there's any bones still left in there. We're going to look out for those before we add them into our fish cakes. To make your poaching broth, you want to pour your milk and water into a pan on a medium heat. You then want to season it with salt, pepper, a bay leaf, nutmeg, and some garlic. Bring this up to the boil, and just as it starts to bubble, you can then add in your fish. Reduce the heat to a simmer, place a lid on top, and allow your fish to poach for 10 minutes. Once your fish is cooked through, you want to remove it from the broth straight away, so you can use a fish slice to scoop it out and place it to one side to cool. You don't want to throw away the broth though, as we're going to use this in our fish cakes shortly. While your fish is cooling, you can also prepare your mashed potato for this recipe. It's really easy to make mashed potato. All you need to do is peel and wash them, chop them up into small chunks, place a saucepan on a medium heat and add in your water, and then salt generously. Carefully place your potatoes in and then bring to the boil, cooking for about 10 to 15 minutes until they're nice and soft. You then want to strain the potatoes through a colander to remove the water, place them back into the pan, and then you can use a masher, a ricer, or a fork to press them through. So that is pretty much all of our ingredients prepped. So now we just need to combine them to make our fish cakes. And this is going to be a really easy fish cake recipe. We're going to use the all-in-one method. So these are going to go into a bowl and then I'm going to bind them together and then we're going to shape them. Now traditionally fish cakes come in little rounds, but it's my Harry Potter kitchen. So we're going to transform these into lightning bolts before we fry them. Your fish should be nice and cool now, and it will also be easier to take out any of those remaining bones. So pay a little bit of attention and make sure it is bone free. And then I'm just going to use a fork to flake it, as we only want small chunks in our fish cakes. I'm also going to prepare some flat leaf parsley by pulling it off the stems and then roughly chopping it. Now it's time to assemble, so I'm placing the potatoes, the fish and the parsley into a bowl. I'm then going to season it with some salt and pepper as well, and we're going to add in some breadcrumbs to give it some structure. We then need some moisture to bind this together, so I'm using an egg, half a lemon and 2 tablespoons of our poaching liquid. You then just want to mix this through really well until it's evenly distributed, and then it should come together like a firm burger patty. Once your mixture is good to go, the easiest way to shape it is to place some cling film over your board. Then sprinkle over some additional panko breadcrumbs. Press your fish cake mixture on top and then try your best to work it into a rough rectangle. I've then taken my stencil and a sharp knife and cut out as many lightning bolts as I can. Transfer each one into some more panko breadcrumbs and coat them, as this will give it a lovely outer shell. Take your leftover cuttings and then bind them together again in a bowl, and then repeat the process to use as much of the mixture as you can. Place the saucepan on a medium heat, add in your oil and allow it to get nice and hot. I'm then going to place the fish cakes in and allow them to fry for about 3 to 5 minutes each side until they're lovely and golden brown. Flip them over and then allow to continue cooking. Now you can serve them just like this, but I want to get them even more crispy. So I want to pop these into the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then they're going to be so lovely and crisp on the outside, and we'll break into them and get that lovely fluffy mash. And with that, we're done. These Harry Potter herring fish cakes are complete. You can either serve them straight away with some lemon wedges or freeze them, and then you'll have them ready to go whenever you're feeling peckish. So that's another magical Harry Potter recipe for you. Let me know down below in the comments, have you tried kippers or herring before? And if not, are you going to give this one a go? Because I'd love to know what you think. That's all for this week's recipe, but if you want to see more from my Harry Potter kitchen, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell, then you'll get an alert every Magic Monday when there's a brand new recipe. I'm off to suck into my fish cakes, and I'll see you next week. You know, I'll eat anything with cake in the title. That's great.